2026 Rivian R1S Tri Motor, 2025 Audi SQ8. These things are both beasts. 800 horsepower, 500 horsepower, 1,100 pound-feet of torque, 568 pound-feet of torque from a twin-turbo V8 that just, I mean, it sounds brutal. Take a listen to this. Now, what you may not know is the Rivian is a 3-row SUV. The SQ8 is a 2-row SUV, seats 5, seats 7. Now, range is important to people. This luckily comes with the NACS port, so you can charge at Tesla superchargers all across the country, so that is very nice. This right here gets about 368 miles of range. This gets 405 miles of range, but with these specific off-road package that this R1S has, this gets 351 miles of range in conserve mode. So in conserve mode, it makes it front-wheel drive only, which makes the car more efficient. If I had the street tires on it, it gets 405 miles of range, which in terms of range in electric vehicles, I think that's excellent. I think really 350 and above is what companies should be shooting for. In terms of efficiency, this is a nightmare. Basically, I'm getting like 14 miles per gallon in this thing, and it has a twin-turbo V8, and you can't drive this efficiently. You have to just rip it. But what's really cool about it is, you see right here, it says R01. So R is an Audi-specific compound by Continental, specifically for their performance models, their RS models. This is an S model, but this is a high-performance summer tire, and the compound is specific to Audi. Rivian, at the same time, you can see right here, it says Riv. So that is a Rivian-specific tire. So these manufacturers work hand in hand to make the compounds exactly what they want them to be. This is going to be in terms of quietness and efficiency and off-road capability. They've built exactly what they wanted, and Audi's done the same thing with this really high-performance tire. Another cool feature that the Audi has that the Rivian does not have is all-wheel steering. So all 4 wheels turn on this thing, making it very easy in parking lots. I will say though, this is very easy to maneuver in comparison to the Rivian truck, the R1T. This is 18 inches shorter, and I've had an easy time maneuvering this around parking lots. Now let me show you something else. We'll start kind of with the exterior of these vehicles. So this is the front trunk space. Look at this space that I have up here. On top of this space, which is excellent, you have this space down here, and I can remove this styrofoam. There's a built-in air compressor for filling up your tires and a little first aid kit. But right here, this is a drain plug. So I can put a bunch of drinks, or these are adventure vehicles. So when you go hunting and you go and you get deer like that, or maybe you go hunting like this, kill like 40 deer at a time. You can put all the pieces in here, and then you open the drain plug up, and the blood can flow out the bottom. That's a little too much, but we'll leave it. We need to talk about luxury. We need to talk about luxury features. These are both luxurious vehicles, right? But Audi's build quality is excellent. You get inside this thing and your wife's yelling at you at the outside, there's not a chance you're gonna hear her, okay? So if you're maybe in a yelling relationship, this is maybe the way to go. Beautiful carbon fiber trim here, carbon fiber trim, suede Alcantara headliners. You have a sunroof that fully opens up, but Rivian will not be outdone in the sunroof category because Rivian has electrochromatic glass. I think they call it dynamic glass, but basically it goes from clear to opaque like you're seeing on your screen, and that is very cool. But the seats in this thing, plush, heated and cooled. In the Rivian, the seats are heated and cooled, but check out this Rivian interior. So this is their slate sky interior. So the exterior color is storm blue, and then you have Daytona gray pearl over on the Audi. Very good colors on both of these vehicles, but check out what Rivian has done here. You have this cross-thatched stitching. You then have the Rivian logo branded into the seat. It's just gorgeous and really a bespoke and different interior. The other thing to consider is the Rivian doesn't have any buttons. The Audi does have some buttons. We'll talk about that shortly, but you get over-the-air updates in these things. So I own, this is actually mine as well, but I own a Rivian R1T. I've had it for almost 2 years. This has an air suspension. They've added settings to the air suspension. They made the car better over speed bumps, so when you're going over them, the air suspension basically eats it all up. Over time, you are going to get updates sent to your vehicle. You get a notification on your phone. It says update available. You go, oh, okay, click. It updates and adds new features to your vehicle. With the Audi, now this is different. I get it. This has a V8 in it. It sounds awesome. It has a real presence to it, but this does too. And over time, this is just going to stay the same. Whatever you currently have in here, you're stuck with this and it's not going to change. With the Rivian, on the other hand, you're going to get updates and features added to this thing that come in the 2027 models and the 2028 models. You're going to have those added to your Rivian over time. That's one thing that Rivian and Tesla do extremely well, is they care about their current base of customers and keep them updated as much as they can, as long as it's not going to slow the infotainment down. That's another thing people wonder about, like, you know how your phone, when it comes close to the release of the new one and then all of a sudden it slows down and your battery doesn't work and everything crashes. That's never happened to me with an electric vehicle, whether it's a Tesla or a Rivian. The software updates have been seamless and haven't slowed the car down. So that was more worry I had going into it, and I can tell you that that has not happened. So the interior of this Rivian is incredible, and the features are just going to keep getting added to it, and I think that that is very cool. Now let me show you a shortcoming of the Audi. Now here's the shortcoming right here, is this infotainment system. The saving grace is the fact that it has Apple CarPlay, and that all works very well. The sound system is excellent. You have these little tweeter speakers that pop up. It's cool. I love the interior of this thing is very plush. But the screens here are confusing. I mean, and there's also been another weird feature. Oh, there we go, now it works. Basically, it has massaging seats, which the Rivian does not have, but it was telling me to start the car and the car was started, and I couldn't do it. So it has massaging seats. They are working now, and that's good. But navigating through this screen, it's a pain to say the least. I mean, I just never really got used to it in my week of having the vehicle. The other thing is they eliminated buttons by adding a screen down here. But as you can see, it knows I'm hitting the screen, but it makes you want to press it like a button, which is very weird. And that's not very user-friendly, especially when you're driving on the road and you're trying to see, okay, what am I pressing on this? So I'm not a huge fan of the screen. Maybe longer time owning it, you'd be fine. But if you go up on this screen outside of Apple CarPlay, I mean, it's not good. I will say though, if you hold this down, you can customize the panes on here. So you can have 3 panes, you can have a small one with a larger one here. I don't know, it's just, the screen's kind of small and you have these small targets as you're driving up the road, and then you kind of get used to how the pressure that you need to apply to hit it. So I'm not a huge fan of this, but it has the old school feel to it. You don't just have one screen, so I see why people would like it. It does have a heads-up display, and I really like the fully digital cockpit right here. So that's nice, but overall, I just feel like this was poorly executed. But a lot of people just love Apple CarPlay, and they'll never care about this anyways, so that's a fair argument as well. The steering wheel in this thing is a letdown. I've noticed this on the Audi S3 that I just drove as well. It's just a very plain wheel with perforated leather. The older S models had much better steering wheels, much more thicker and aggressive wheels. I bet they save those for the RS models now, but just something I was not as big of an issue in the SQ8, but the S3, I was pretty let down by that. Love the carbon fiber trim in the vehicles. The interior is just very plush. Now, both of these vehicles have a ton of technology packed into them, and the one downside of technology is your data being released to data brokers online. That's why today's video sponsor is Delete Me, who will help remove your information from the internet.
Delete Me is a hands-free subscription service that will remove your personal information that's being sold online. Since I started using Delete Me 2 years ago, they have scanned thousands of listings with my information, like phone number and address, and removed it from 28 sites, saving me a ton of time and keeping my information private. Delete Me starts by having you fill out a profile of your name, common spellings, your phone number, address, or previous addresses you've lived at to find your information that data brokers are selling. These data brokers organize your data and then license it to sell to other data brokers or organizations who can profit from your data. Delete Me will generate your first report, and it can take a few days all the way up to a month to get your information removed from the internet. The best part is they keep removing your information every 3 months when it pops up on websites. Plus, as more data brokers sites pop up, Delete Me will add them to their list and make sure your information is removed. I just received my 8th report showing where my information has been removed from and where they are working on getting it removed. So Delete Me is offering Gjeebs viewers 20% off Delete Me US consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Gjeebs20 and use promo code Gjeebs20 at checkout, and there's also a link for international plans. Delete Me, thank you for sponsoring this video.
But let's take a look at the seating position in the rear of this thing. So seating position, as you can see, is excellent, but a cool feature here is you can see that there are two switches for the windows. This is for your window, this is for the passenger window. And you'll notice there is a sunshade here. So if the sunshade is up, like it currently is, your first click down releases the sunshade. Your second click releases the window. So that is just an interesting feature, because if you're rich, you make like millions of dollars per second. So the second it takes you to reach over to this window, you've lost millions of dollars. So you have to just click it from here, and now you can be more efficient with your time, money, 10x things. So now you can 10x from the back seat simply because of that switch right there, which I think is great. Now what I don't think is great is right here, this tunnel here, okay? The drive shaft's down here, transmission tunnel, whatever. You just lose some space for the person in the middle, whereas the Rivian, it's a correctly designed electric vehicle. It has a flat floor, so there's more space. And this second row is adjustable, so you can actually scoot it up or scoot it back to get a little bit extra room. But the Rivian is the same thing, so let's go check that out. So the materials in this, again, look at the materials they are choosing back here for the backs of the seats. Nice wood trim around here, USB-C, a little hook here for your laundry from the laundromat. That's all, not the laundromat, the dry cleaners, there we go. Laundromat's the opposite. You have this little thing here, but I mean, just the, what's this? Probably recycled bottles from whales and stuff in the ocean. On the floor here, totally flat with nicer carpet than you have in your living room. And then you have a screen in the back here, which does various things. It shows you like your arrival. You can control your aircon back here. I like calling it aircon. The Europeans go the aircon. I'm Matt Watson, and the aircon in this. Yanni, can you talk about the aircon, Yanni? That's Matt Watson from CarWow. I actually met Matt Watson at the Cybertruck launch. Awesome guy, very nice guy. Took the time. It's like, Matt, I'm a big fan. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Gjeebs. So this also fully adjustable row here, but you get a bonus row. You get a bonus row. So we're gonna pull this, releases, which opens up our third row. Sorry, apologize. Apologize to the fine people at Rivian. Now, we hop into the third row. Little booty shot for you there. And you got plenty of space. Well, let's see, I don't wanna say plenty. Let's be fair here, let's be honest. Can't be a liar. You have, we'll call it space back here. So that row needs scooted back. Okay, so my knees, again, 6 feet tall, built like a pole vaulter, a female. And then you do have air conditioning back here, which is nice. You have space, but then you're encroaching on the space that is up for the second row. So yeah, you have space back here. You have a cup holder, you have phone chargers and all that stuff. But hey, the Audi SQ8, it doesn't have a third row. These cost the same. And this is why I'm comparing the two of these vehicles, is because there is, nice little step here. It's how Conan would enter on late night. You're actually getting a lot for your money. And keep in mind, the slowest Rivian R1S is basically as fast as that. 4.5 seconds to 60, and they start at about $75,000. They all come with 3 rows. That's what's nice about Rivian. Essentially, you're getting about 270 miles of range on the base model, and it's an LFP pack, so you can charge it comfortably to 100% at 75 grand. Has all the same software features, has an air suspension. It's not as quick, doesn't have all the drive modes, but a lot of people are leaving it in standard mode. I think the entry-level model is actually a huge value. Another cool feature here around the back, it's a split trunk like a BMW X5. So this part opens up, and then this is a manual release for the bottom of it here. So you have this nice here, if you're changing baby diapers, this is a mother's dream. Right here, you lay her down, you boom, we're back. So that's really nice. The other thing is you have this right here. You got the 100 watt charger here, 1500 watt plug, and then you have these switches for, this is for the second row. And then down here, you have an air compressor. So you can set the PSI that you want it to be. You can pump up all 4 tires with the cable that I showed you earlier that's stored in the frunk. Additionally, you have storage here in this tray. And then you have storage here, down here, and we have a spare tire for the off-road kit. So you could remove this. If you don't get the off-road kit, this doesn't come with it. So you have more storage down there, which is incredible. The other thing to note is if you are buying a Rivian, you should use a referral code. So I'll have mine on the screen, that gets you $500 to the gear shop. So you're able to put $500 towards a home charger, maybe towards t-shirts and accessories or sunshades, whatever you want to get. You should be using a referral code. It works if you're leasing it. It works if you're buying it to get these things. A ton of people have used my code already, which actually ended up getting me this vehicle. But you should be using a referral code regardless if it's mine or not, just because it's out there and it gives the person credit whose videos have really helped you in making your buying decision. So that's all good. So the Rivian, in my opinion, is a huge value. Now, driving this thing, despite it having all, high performance summer tires and 23-inch wheels, drives great. And then on top of that, if you care, if you're like an enthusiast and you have family, you want to get something really nice, the engine note in this thing, the exhaust, when you put it into dynamic mode, is second to none. I mean, it's very good. So not only do you have a twin turbocharged V8, you have heated and cooled seats that are massaging you. You have your Apple CarPlay. You have a car that isn't very efficient, but it has a lot of space. It's one of the most fun SUVs that I've ever driven, and I get that it's expensive, but both of these cars are expensive. And this just has that personality to it that an electric car can't really replicate right now. I think the closest thing is the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, because it simulates a dual clutch transmission. So I think that is very cool. But you wouldn't ever do that in an SUV. And I just think this has some character to it, and it handles so well. You're merging on on-ramps. It just corners flat. It's really impressive. So performance, comfort, luxury for sure, excellent fit and finish. The one downside is it's very inefficient, and then the infotainment here is, I don't know, I'm just not a fan of it. It's a lot of clutter up here. I would just rather have buttons that you know exactly what you're clicking. Why increase the cost, put another screen in here and all that stuff if you can't even update them remotely? I doubt there's going to be any. There might be minor like bug fixes and things like that the dealership would do on a recall or a service visit. And speaking of service, that's another thing. The more mileage that this gets on it, the less you're going to want to own it because of the maintenance that comes with it. The tires are so expensive and wide. Now, tire wear in a Rivian, brutal. Because I have a Rivian R1T truck, and I'm at about 18,000 miles, and the tires are pretty much shot. So I'm curious to see how long the off-road tires last. I would think that tires on both of these vehicles are going to last about the same amount. It's about, about 20,000 miles is what you're looking at. You're going to have to replace them because they're going to be unsafe. And especially these high performance summer tires, you're much better off in this getting the all season tire, because I don't know why you'd want this tire. You're never going to take this to a track and all that stuff. But yeah, this thing has just been a pleasure to have for the week. It looks cool, it sounds cool, you feel good being in it. The two downsides being the technology in the middle here and the inefficiency. So let's go jump into the Rivian and see how that is to drive back to back with this. All right, so this does have launch control. Here we go. Oh my God. So yes, the launch control on this thing is absurd. And you can see on the display here, it says 3.36 seconds to 60, peak G 0.97. Launch control is crazy, but as you'd expect with off-road, brand new off-road tires, you're not gonna get the 2.9 seconds that they advertise, but 3.3 seconds is crazy. It's also pretty rowdy in this thing. You're kind of sawing at the wheel to keep it in place. Now, driving the R1S in comparison to the SQ8, the big thing is the SQ8 has the personality of a twin turbocharged V8. It's one of the best sounding engines out there. This doesn't have that, but this has far more efficiency. This is going to cost you far less in the long term, and it also has 3 rows, which is really nice. It has a full air suspension, which is adjustable in terms of your ride feel, your regenerative braking, and then your stability control, the height of the vehicle. And then in conserve mode, we add about 30 miles of range to the vehicle because it locks it into front wheel drive. So this has a ton of technology in it. And like I said earlier, this is going to continue to update and add features. You can see here, I mean, just even this, the design by Unreal Engine. And then if you swipe over, it shows your elevation, your battery temperature, tire pressure. It just has some really cool features. And it also has the most high resolution camera ever installed on a vehicle from the factory. So you can just see the refresh rate is excellent. and then out of the rear as well. So they've just done an excellent job with technology in this, as you would expect. Now, I will say that people have complained about the R1S being kind of bouncy. It has a shorter wheelbase than the R1T. The R1T rides a little bit better, but overall, I think they've done a good job adjusting everything and making this have good ride quality. The one downside to having the off-road tires, they are loud and you lose some efficiency. But in terms of, what's the better value of these two very expensive vehicles, the R1S is the better value and it's going to cost you less over time. The insurance on the R1S, my insurance is, I have the $1,000 deductible, and then I have like $100,000, $300,000, underinsured motorists, all that stuff, is $133 a month. I don't think that's that crazy for a vehicle that's this expensive and this capable. So I would bet insurance is about the same on both of them. And overall, I just like the packaging of the Rivian. But if you're going to be doing a ton of road trips, you're really going to want the road wheels. And it's also going to take, if it's outside of 350 miles, it's going to take you longer to get there in the Rivian because of charging. But if you're doing around town driving, you're going to really enjoy this thing, especially using things like turning on remotely heating and cooling the car. I don't know. Rivian's done a really nice job with the packaging of their brand, and I'm just a huge fan of how they designed the interiors of these vehicles. It's really well thought out. The ergonomics of the vehicle, the storage, the power, the air suspension, the over-the-air updates, I think they're really good. But the Audi SQ8 is also a blast to drive. So just check both of these out. Also, Rivian is very good of doing test drives. They'll do overnight test drives for you, and you don't have to like fill out a credit application and all that stuff. You're able to get in the vehicle and really enjoy it, whereas Audi is absolutely not going to let you do that. So yeah, just want to make you aware of both of these vehicles. They're both excellent. And if you want to see me do a road trip in a Rivian R1T across the country to see how charging is, check this video out right here. I think you will really enjoy that. And thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. Everything is linked in the description.